Everybody, it's Craig from Docs Sports, and we're back with Docs Daily for Monday, the 28th of March. And we call this D-Day for a lot of people because they took off of work last week or called in sick or whatever. And, of course, for the March Madness, both the first and the second round, or they call it the second and third, I guess now. Either way, very disappointing. I don't know about you boys, but I've got Griffin and Nick here. We are in Vegas at the studio in Vegas. But we also have Raphael live on the screen as well. But I don't know about you guys. Nick, you can start. How was your weekend? And I was a little disappointed. I don't know about you. There wasn't a whole lot of upsets and only one buzzer beater, the Maryland game.
Yeah, Maryland Queen, too, against Colorado State. He got the job done. But okay weekend. Went 2-2 over the weekend in college basketball. Not the greatest, but we're looking to bounce back. We got the Sweet 16 here rolling around. And we're locked and loaded here. We're in Vegas. I'm jacked up. Griff, how you feeling over there?
Nick, you know how I'm feeling, brother. We're back in the Mecca, man. Are you kidding me?
Circa Boys.
Circa Boys, always, man. We've been in Vegas for a year now, and we're locked in. It's been a very interesting March Madness, I have to say, and the underdogs have been quite a take. And one team that I'd like to talk about down the road is Arkansas. With Calipari. I mean, this team has been absolutely outstanding. So right now, in the circumstances of way the March Madness is playing, there's really only one team that I'm looking at right now, Craig, that's really blowing everybody out of the water, and that is Duke, who is laying a ton of points. Not only laying, but they're actually covering every single game. Other than that, everybody else has kind of been within that circumcision of very similar matchups, and the underdog is quite frankly winning the matchups.
I don't know if circumcisions.
Circumcision. Count it, baby. Count it.
we maybe got to put that up on social media. But Duke's 9-point favorite. I don't know if for Thursday they play Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought it was going to be more. I mean, you don't see double digits, but I was like, this might speak to Raphael. You can probably speak to. I only see 53% of the bets. It's early, but coming in on Duke. Do you think Duke maybe gets to double digits?
Probably. No, I take that back. It's probably coming down. Some books offshore already have 8.5. I think this one comes down just because, yes, we all know Duke is dominating, but but Arizona is one of those sleeper teams that I've been telling people don't sleep on. Arizona and Texas Tech, which both of them are here in the Sweet 16. So I think Arizona love, and everyone bets what the last thing they saw, and what was the last game yesterday, was Arizona-Oregon. So I think Arizona money will continue to come in. I don't think we'll see double digits on this game.
I just don't know if Arizona's better than Baylor. I mean, I think they're pretty equal. And they beat Baylor by 23 points, 89-66. Line was 12.5. I mean, the only single games that you have on Duke, like going back, was when Flag was out during the ACC tournament. So I don't know. It's an interesting game. I mean, Duke is 8-2 against spread, Raphael, their last 10 games. And like I said, most of these 23, 24.5, 19. I mean, it is something else.
The favorites went 36-12 over the first 4 days.
Yeah, crazy, wasn't it? I'm guessing the books got killed, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
And how was the over-unders? I didn't actually total it up.
Unders went 28-20.
So the books made it back a little bit, just for you guys that don't know. The public's betting the overs and the favorites. So with both of them a hit, it's like, somebody's losing their jobs, right, Raphael? But when you get back a little on the unders, it probably at least saved the day on some of them.
Yeah, I mean, the overs not coming in probably helped parlay bettors, but the favorites, the money line favorites was what probably hurt the books the most, just because everyone likes to bet those money line favorites.
Yeah, just so if people that don't know what that means is people will go put a 5-team parlay together and they put the ridiculous numbers, minus 220, minus 350. Yeah. When all 4 hit, then they get a little better than even money. And usually there's one that don't hit, and that's how the books kill everybody. So when they all hit like they did this weekend, I mean, was this the biggest amount of overs or as favorites that we've ever seen in the first 2 weekends, Raphael?
No, 3 years ago, I think when all the number ones went all the way to the Great Eight, I think that was probably the most dominating favorites. And the overs were hitting at that time too. So the books took a really clean bath. I think it was 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Raphael, okay, now we got to get you. Who's taking the money? Is there any of these super big line movements after these lines came up? Of course, once last night. Some of them were popping up earlier because, of course, the matchups came up early in the day. We could start to see who was playing and what the odds were going to be. Any of the gotten a lot of movement?
I was going to put my white dress shirt on, my short sleeve dress shirt, because BYU is taking probably the most action right now.
Really?
I love this BYU team. I think they can win. I was surprised at how badly they beat Wisconsin. They controlled the tempo the whole game. They shot 12 for 26 from 3-point land. And they're not a good free throw shooting team. They went 15 for 16 on the free throw line. And keep an eye out for this guy who's going to be in the NBA from BYU, Igor Demon. He's a nice kid. He's going to be an electric guy in the NBA. But I think BYU, I think that's why people are betting on them, because of how they dominated Yale and how they easily steamrolled our bosses, Wisconsin Badgers. Sorry, boss.
Well, I mean, as bad as Wisconsin played, I mean, in the last 2 minutes, it came back and they had a shot to tie it. So it was, BYU dominated the entire game. That would have been one of the worst beats if it went to overtime and they lost. BYU, 5-point underdog against Alabama, and it's the early game on Thursday. So I always say that early game kind of sets, you do get 2 games right away. We're going to get the BYU, Alabama, then Maryland, Florida. Maryland, Florida, to me, is a little more interesting than that BYU. I like BYU plus the points, but I think the Maryland, Florida team, I could see either one of those. Whoever wins, I think is going to be the favorite to get to the Final Four, at least in my eyes. But when you look at the second day, that's Friday, Kentucky, Tennessee, Raphael. Kentucky won both matchups, right? At Kentucky, at Tennessee, yet Tennessee's a 4.5-point favorite. What am I missing here?
This one opened up at 5.5 too. So, in which Circa was the first one to put up that 5.5. Everyone else piggybacked and waited them to get hammered, and everyone else put up 5 on that one. So I was a little bit confused on this one. I'm just happy an SEC team gets knocked out in this game, so I'm thrilled about that one. But I hate when people say, "Oh, it's hard to beat a team 3 times." Well, if you have their number and you have their style to beat them, I can see a third time beating. So I wouldn't be shocked if Big Blue Nation wins again. This is all about, you're watching this game, who's going to control the pace of the game. If it's Tennessee and their defense, then yes, I can see Tennessee winning. But if Kentucky can spread the floor out and run their tempo, I can see Big Blue Nation winning.
Well, they don't even need to win. That's the best. When the teams beat them twice, yet they're a 4.5, some places 5, as Raphael's saying. Yep. You don't have to win. Like, they can lose, and you still get the cover. You go 3 covers in a row. I mean, to me, Nick, when we look at that Purdue-Houston, Purdue gets to the championship game. Braden Smith, player of the year this year.
Incredible. Facing
a Houston team that really has been one of the best teams in college basketball the last 3 years, but injuries have been the story that's kind of derailed them come tournament. They're finally healthy. They played really good game last time out. They're an 8-point favorite. Is that I was thinking like 5.5 to 6.5. So did that shock you at all?
Yeah, it definitely shocks you, especially the way that Purdue played in their last game. I mean, Calvin Sampson has done a fantastic job for this Houston ball club in the way they defend. And that's the reason why I think the spread is so high, 8.5 here. But I would definitely take the points, as I think this game's going to be a little closer. The offense, especially on the Purdue side, will hit the perimeter shots. So I would say take the points with Purdue. Houston's no joke this year. I have them going in my Final Four is Houston. But to cover this game, I think Purdue comes out strong, especially in the first half. This would be more of a first half bet for me on the Purdue side of things and taking those points. But Calvin Sampson's done a great job with his defense, and they play relentless defense, and they will play Purdue to the max, I'm telling you. But I would take those points in my back pocket. I feel confident with Purdue, their offense. They have a lot of seniors. Their only downside is their big man. They don't necessarily have that big man in the paint to score, but you're going up against a Houston team that's got a couple big mans that are going to score the basket here.
Well, I think it's Wren for Purdue that obviously he's not Zach Edey. I mean, Zach Edey was player of the year 2 times. So, but when you have great guard play with Lawyer and Braden Smith, I mean, when they're hitting, now people don't hit. Look Gonzaga. They were unbelievable first round.
Sure.
All of a sudden they face that defense, not so good. So it's all much tougher facing that team. Michigan, Auburn, another game on Friday. 8.5 by Auburn. Like I don't know. It's Michigan's just every game's close. So I just 5-0 against the spread on their last 5. They just find ways to win, and for us bettors, they cover too. So what do you think, Griff?
Yeah, Craig, the way I look at that game, the way that Michigan played, they kind of proved themselves when they beat Wisconsin. Wisconsin was a very tough bout. They ended up taking that matchup, and that was huge. Auburn, on the other hand, Auburn is a team for me that they were somebody who I had circled up early on in the season. And when they beat up on Bama at Bama, that was where I was kind of like, all right, Bruce Pearl, this is the team. This is who's going to win the national championship. Now that I look at the circumstances of this matchup in this game, I think they're laying way too many points. And I'd be definitely on the dog in this match, and I'd be taking the points up in this matchup.
I mean, they've lost 3 of their last 6 games.
Yeah.
I mean,
not playing
granted,
good basketball.
they lost to Texas A&M, obviously a very good team. Alabama, very good team, but that was at home on senior night. Then they lost to Tennessee. Obviously, Tennessee's still in it. But, I mean, it's not like they were playing early in the year when they were beating up on people. So I don't know. I think this is a much better
I don't
game.
think Tennessee's as good as everybody thinks they are. I don't think Tennessee's going to make it to the stretch.
I guarantee they were not happy that they had to play an SEC team in the Sweet 16.
No.
Usually they try to avoid, but they couldn't this year because there were so many SEC teams. They try to avoid until the Elite Eight. So it's like, hey, you don't have to play them, and then you're playing them to go to the Final Four at least. They're going to have to win this game, and they play Purdue, the winner of Purdue Houston, I believe.
Yep.
So it's like, dude, even if you win this game,
Houston,
you got to play Houston, or Purdue wins. I mean, either way, that's a tough one. But that Michigan Auburn game, I just think. I don't know. I think people see that Michigan had to win a lot of close games against some tough or some not so great, maybe, or middling, I would say.
Middling for sure. For sure.
But it's like they just, some teams just play every game's just close.
Yeah.
It's just like they just don't beat teams.
I'm not sold.
What was
on
it, the
Michigan,
Minnesota
man.
Vikings 2 years ago, where it's like every win was by 1 score?
Yep.
But hey, they all count at the end of the day. But when you're a better, I always like, because it's like, hey, these teams just find a way to keep it close.
Of course.
They don't have to play their best game. They have other ways to win. They can beat you, driving the ball. They can beat you from 3-point line. They're very good on defense. Not that Auburn's not. Auburn's an overall number 1 seed for a reason. I just think 8.5. Like, to me, when I saw the Duke line at 9, I'm like, they deserve that.
Of course.
I don't think they deserved it 8.5. All right, let's move on. We'll talk. Rafa, I want to get your opinion, because we got the NIT tomorrow night. Is that, now that we've seen a lot of those teams go to the Crown instead of NIT, is the handle way down in the NIT for the books?
Both of them. I think they cancel each other out. No one cares about the Crown, and I think the bettors that thought about caring about the NIT, I think they're disgusted with some people that going into NIT, going to the Crown instead. I mean, it's probably one of the worst NIT and CBI actions I've seen in a very, very long time.
I kind of like that North Texas game tomorrow night. I think that's going to be one of the better teams of the tournament. I think North Texas is going to win that game.
UAB.
So it's North
Don't
Texas.
Don't sleep on UAB.
Who they play tomorrow? North Texas and
it's not Dayton.
No, Dayton just got blown out.
Oh shoot! Let me.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Oklahoma State. Which
sleeper.
I don't know how they're at home here.
No,
in Stillwater.
Yeah, it's in Stillwater.
Yeah,
so
that's a tough place to play.
1.5. Yeah. So I kind of like, I made a video about it. You can check it out. I kind of like North Texas. I think I love their defense. I love defense.
All season long. I've been riding them all along against the trend, against the spread. That team just covers. They're a machine. They're a defensive beast, offensive, and they clean up on boards.
But that Crown, I believe, if I'm right, it's starting next Monday here. We're here in Vegas, just so you guys don't know. We're here in Vegas for the week, the 3 of us. Monday, I think it starts, and I think it runs Monday through Friday, right, Raphael?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's 5 straight days. It's an interesting concept. I will say this. If it works, I don't know what happens to NIT going forward, because teams will get more money. They'll merge. But the NIT is owned by the NCAA. The Crown is not. So with the NCAA, I don't know. Like it will be an interesting concept. They're going to have to do something, because you can't just have the third teams. You're selling that to ESPN. They're not going to be interested in, the third rated tournament.
Dude, I'm on UAB the whole way through. Did
the one kid from UAB, Raphael, do you know, did he end up I know he had opted out, transferred the portal, or he at least entered? Did he play?
Just saw that.
I don't think he did, if I'm not mistaken.
So it's pretty unbelievable what they're doing then, winning without him.
They had a deep team anyways. They were going 9-10 deep at some time.
But he was averaging 17, 18 a game. So I was kind of the line was crazy in that opening game. I think we were on Doc's Daily last week talking about it, because it was like, are you kidding me? Why is it? And then
St. Joe's was like
-5.5.
Someone came on and
I rode UAB on that one too.
I forget, somebody told us that it was out, and we looked it up, and sure enough, but so they won on the road. That was a tight game. Then it's like, once you get the one win, then you're like, hey, we can win without them.
Mentality.
But let's move to the NBA, because we're going to talk bets for today.
Sure.
And Nix, let's kick us off here. Let's see. You're talking Bucks and Suns.
Yeah, let's talk about
Suns favored by 3, total 223.5. Are you kidding me? How are the Suns favored?
Let me tell you why the Suns are favored here, Craig. So the Milwaukee Bucks, they're coming in right now 2 games below 500. They're 16-18 here on the road. They're 40-30 on the season. They're on a 2-game winning streak here. They're on a 4. This will be their 4th road game here out of 5, and they just beat the Sacramento Kings. Let me remind you, I just told you that they were 2 games below 500. They're on a 2-game winning streak. They're playing well, but listen, here's the kicker. They don't have Damian Lillard in the lineup. He's still out in this matchup, while the Phoenix Suns, they play their best basketball here at home. They're 23-12 at home. They're on a 3-game winning streak, and they're also 6-4 in their last 10 games. Kevin Durant, he's averaging 28.6 points per game here. I know there's no Bradley Beal, but there's Devin Booker, there's Kevin Durant, and this is the game that I think the Suns will prevail in this one. They'll cover that -3. I know it sounds crazy to you, Craig, but I think they break this streak here for the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Suns take it home tonight. I would lay the points with the Phoenix Suns -3 at home, where they play their best basketball, Craig.
I mean, the Suns are holding on to the 10th spot, which in normal years back in the day meant they were out of the playoffs.
Yep.
Now with the new play-in system, they are holding on. They're actually tied with Dallas. Dallas would like to not play in it, so they get in the lottery. But the team that I think is the watch team is the Portland Trailblazers. They're only 2.5 games back.
Mhm.
They're playing great basketball. I'm not sure the Suns even want to be in it, to be honest, because if you're like, it would be pretty embarrassing if you have those 3, the big 3 that the Suns have, and they lose.
They're looking for the dump off.
Well,
And
Kevin
the
Durant
way it is
doesn't
right
wanna
now,
be there.
they would play the Kings would play the Suns, I believe, first,
Mhm.
and then if they lose, they're out. Then they'd have to win again on the road. So it'd be like, win 1 game playoff basically. So I don't know. I just can't bet the Suns.
I will not bet the
Like,
Suns. I will not
it's
touch
hard.
them.
I didn't play
If I
this
bet
game.
on them, I lose.
Yeah.
If I bet against them, I lose. I do not touch the Suns. You don't know what they're going to do at home, what they're going to do on the road.
Lay the points.
I cannot stand that damn team.
-3.
Beal's either out, Durant's
the
either out.
Hey.
Sick need.
Hey, your boy,
Lay
what's his-
the
Bucks-
wood. Lay
guy.
the wood. -3 tonight. Thank me later in the comments.
Bucks are 5th seed right now, 1 game back of the Pacers. They just lost to the Pacers twice. Right?
Yeah.
So that's like, I think they don't own the tiebreaker, which means they would have to actually go 1.5 games up to win. So they kind of have their work cut out for them. I think that's maybe why they're sitting Damian Lillard at this point. I mean, he didn't play and they won at the Kings last time out. But
well, there's 2.5s out there right now. DraftKings has 2.5.
Wow.
And, offshore book, and there's question marks that the Greek Freak could sit out on this game as well. So I would grab the 3 and 2.5 right now, because you can hedge that off. If let's say the Greek Freak does play, you can hedge that off if he does. But there is a game time decision, and what I'm hearing is probably not going to play.
Yeah, well, that might be why this 2.5 start popping up. You start getting news like that, people start running to the window to bet it. So there you go. Griffin,
Yeah.
Celtics Kings. You want to talk about the Celtics -4.5, total 223.5. The Kings team that, Knicks Bulls, the Bulls West over there.
143, baby.
You got DeRozan.
They got DeRozan and what's his name, Zach LaVine. Now it's like these guys are back together again, and they're actually playing pretty good basketball.
Real good.
Even though they did lose with Milwaukee without Lillard last time, I thought that was that they kind of needed that one. What do you think here in this matchup?
Craig, the way that I'm looking at this matchup right now is you got a Sacramento team that's playing 500 basketball right now, and they're in a heavy race in the West. Then on top of that, you have a Boston Celtics team that won the championship last year, and this team is playing now at that level. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games. I want to say they've won 5 consecutive matchups. They are playing at that level of tier. They are currently second in the East, trailing 5 games behind Cleveland. They're in that midst of what they did last year to what they currently are doing right now in this factor. They have a motivational factor. And on top of that, Sacramento has a motivational factor on the West. They need to continue to win games, obviously, to clinch that playoff berth. And when you look at that, you can look at it from 2 sides. You can look at it from, okay, is the motivational factor going to benefit us, or is that going to be a negative towards us? When you're playing a team like the Boston Celtics, and I get that Porzingis is out and Brown is out tonight, this Boston Celtics team is still deep as all hell. I mean, you still got Al Horford, who's an absolute beast. He's big as all hell.
He's my age.
He's a
Yeah,
veteran.
you still got
I'm going to turn 50. He's
you
not
got-
far behind me.
right, and you still got Tatum in the
Still
lineup. You
banging
still have
threes.
your boys, and when you look at a line like that, and you look at a team like that, how do you go against a team who's laying just 3.5 points, who's been purely dominant for the past 2 years? Let alone now they're 9-1 in the last 10 games, and they've won 5 consecutive matchups. You can't fade a team like that. The trend is your friend. You ride the trend until it fails. Well, right now the trend is in Boston Celtics' favor, and I have no issue laying the 3.5 points. So, as Nick likes to say, lay the wood with the
baby.
Boston
4.5.
Celtics over Sacramento.
4.5.
I got it at 3.5. I'm even comfortable with the 4.5 in this one, Craig.
Yeah. Okay. 4.5. We'll call it that. We're going to put a little parlay together since we're here in
Ooh.
Vegas.
Yeah, we'll cook
put,
it up.
sprinkle
We'll
a
put
little
yours.
We're in the kitchen.
Put all 3, and we'll throw Raphael in there. He's freaking to say he's not a big
He
parlay
doesn't
guy.
like them.
We'll throw it in
parlays.
there.
Look at him.
So when
He's
we're drinking
disgusting.
tonight, we're going to be
He's
drinking on you. But when I look at the Celtics, only worry here, they're up 7.5 games on the third Knicks,
Yeah,
but they're 5 back of Celtics. So for all intents and purposes, they're the number 2 seed.
correct.
So I think you're going to see this. What it's going to happen is that basically somebody's going to be setting every night from here on out. Tonight, like you said, it's Brown and Porzingis. It's
And
some
Drew Holiday,
nice
probably.
Drew
Holiday as
yeah.
well.
So you might, I don't really worry about the guards for the Celtics. Celtics, it seems like they just bring off guys off the bench, just hit threes. But I worry when Brown and Tatum doesn't go, because you're talking about
That's your duo.
2 of the top 15 guys in the league. So it's not like you're replacing them with the next guy come off the bench.
That's where the Trapp incentive comes into mind, because anybody who's a sharp bettor, and we're at the end of the season right now, so anybody who's sharp, that is where the majority of the money is going to be. The public is going to be all over the fact that Porzingis and Brown are out tonight, and everybody knows that Brown and Tatum are that pick and roll duo. So everybody from the public side, this is where the public starts winning more games opposed to the actual sharps, where the heavy money is. So when you look at a game in this circumstance, that's where you kind of have to really get into the psychology of the system and the numbers in the game. And that's where I look at this game and I'm like, all right, well, Sabonis has been left and right, in and out, back and forth. I believe right now he's a game time decision. DeRozan's going to be out there playing. But at the same time of the circumstance, you look at it and you're like, okay, so who's the public going to be on, and who's going to where's the sharp money going to be at? And these are the type of circumstances where you have to look at it and be like, well, maybe I'm not against going with the public on this side, where the majority of the season, all year long, first half of the season, you're like, you know what? We fade the public. We want to go with the heavy money. And this type of circumstance, I'm on the other side with this. I'm riding with the public at this. As soon as I see Porzingis out and Jaylen Brown out, give me the other side with that. Give me the Celtics team riding a 5-game winning streak, Craig.
Raphael, 2-5 against the spread the last 7 games, but I think the Kings are the worst team in the league. You might know. I think they're like 28-39, I think, off the top of my head, against the spread this year. That's got to be up there as one of the
they're the worst team. They're the worst team
against the spread.
Covering a spread. The second last is, of course, Washington. But this one's a little iffy to me. I mean, Celtics played last night, played against Baltimore. This is the time of season where you just throw out a lot of X's in the NBA and just wait for playoffs. I threw a big X on this one. But
we're 12 games out?
In the Celtics.
11, 12 games out, depending on the team,
12.
right? I think as far as, so that means it's about 2.5, 3 weeks. I don't have it in front of me.
They got 82 games. Yeah.
So it's like, we've got a little, you're at that
Crunch time.
I know they did the end season tournament early in the year, but I would love if they did an end of the season tournament with the bad teams.
Yeah.
Because to make them want to play instead of it's been crazy.
Do we really want to watch Washington play though?
Yeah, the Bulls,
but at least they'd have a reason to play. If you got the number 1 seed, if you won the tournament or something, you put the bottom 8 teams, and whoever wins the tournament gets the number 1 seed.
Yeah,
teams will be playing a little harder. The owners would be like, "Listen, you play hard. We're gonna get Cooper Flagg is going to change our organization."
Right.
I mean, the other night Utah played the Wizards, and it was like basically everybody was out because neither one team wants to win, because if you look, they'd like to have the most
on that game.
balls. So, all right, Raphael, what do you have as a free play for us tonight?
I'm going to throw a bunch of them out there because I'm piggybacking on a lot of your guys. I love the Kings play that you put down there, but I like the Kings team total over 110.5, because if you like 3-pointers, this is your game. You're going to be jacking up 3-pointers on both sides. Kings have hit this 3 out of 4 games, and they're averaging 117 points per game at home. So I like the team total Kings over. And I'm going to take the baby Bulls. I'm going to take the Bulls.
Come on.
And
come on, Ralph.
Josh Giddey over 17.5 points. This prop bet has just been money all day long. 9 out of 11, Josh Giddey has hit this prop bet. I'm giddy for cash. I'm giddy tonight.
He's giddy
I think
for
he has
Giddey.
another dominating performance.
I love
His
it,
last
Ralph.
10 games, he's averaging 22 points a game. And in the Bulls, they're 8-2 against their spread in their last 10 games.
Yeah.
They're playing some great ball. I love Giddey and White in the backcourt. I think they can beat the Joker-less Denver tonight. I think they just scored some 10 points against the Lakers just now as I'm talking, as they brutally beat up LA their last game. I like the Bulls on this spot, so I'm going to take the plus points of the Bulls, but I love Josh Giddey. I'll take this prop bet all the way up to 19.5. He's just been balling lately.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows you what can happen with social media. I mean, he obviously did not have a good NBA playoffs last year. I mean, he went from being one of the players that people were like, hey, this is a future superstar. All of a sudden, because he had a bad playoffs, they had to get him out of town in Oklahoma City. I didn't think he fit well. You know, because when
legally too, they had him out of town legally.
Yeah, he might. He was on witness protection plan.
Craig, look what happens when Zach LaVine gets out of there and he goes to Sacramento. What happens? Josh
Giddey goes, dude.
He'll be an all-star by.
He had 19 points, 12 boards, and I want to say 9 assists last night. This guy went completely.
Hey, maybe we play him tonight. Triple-double.
Triple-double.
That's what I'm saying.
Sprinkle.
Yeah. No, not even the sprinkle. Let's put grandma's paycheck on that thing.
Let's parlay that with something. Let's parlay something with that.
You might not be able to see on the screen, but my play was the Bulls Nuggets, so I like the Bulls in this matchup too. The Bulls are only 2 games out, and Orlando plays tonight. They're in front of them. So if Orlando loses tonight, they play the Lakers, so that they're probably going to lose. Let's just say that Orlando's not been good. They could end up as being, where they're going to have a game. They have to win 1 game out of 2 in the playoffs. Because if you're the 8 seed, you just have, if you lose the 7 team, then you have a home game against whoever wins in 9 or 10. So it's like they're going to have to win 1 or 2 games against, I don't think are great teams, Atlanta, Orlando, and the Heat. And they're going to end up playing the Cleveland Cavaliers in the opening round, which if you just said to a Bulls fan, probably around the trade deadline, they were like, because the Raptors were basically ahead of them. Now the Raptors have fallen off, even though they've been great against the spread. So congratulations to your Bulls. You're going to end up as a
Bulls
play-in tournament game. You might hang a banner in Chicago.
I might. You know what? I'm going to the game. Going to the game. Okay, Mark my words.
I'll buy you courtside seats so I can bet against you.
I'm going to it.
Just so you know, Raphael, the last time that Nick had a big play on the Bulls, he had
courtside.
Wasn't good. Charlotte
wasn't good.
They got whacked.
Nick was drooling down his beard, man. It was terrible.
I used to have season tickets.
We were down about 20 at half. I couldn't believe it. So
keep
a couple orange juice and maybe a little
Raphael, the Bulls have asked Nick not to come.
Yeah.
Please don't come back. All right. So NBA, that's not a big card tonight. So let's talk the NHL a little bit. And then I want to circle back a little bit with Raphael and talk a little Final Four odds. But I want to, Nick, I know you have a play for us in the NHL for tonight. Give us a gem here.
I got a gem.
All right.
I got a gem.
I mean, what are you on tonight? You're on
Detroit Red Wings in the Utah Hockey Club here.
Utah with no freaking.
Listen, I got a gem for you folks, okay? Both of these teams are coming in 6th right now in their respective divisions. The Red Wings, they're coming in 6th in the Atlantic. The Utah Hockey Club, they're in 6th in the Central. Shout out to my boy Detroit Lenny here. We got the Red Wings coming in this game on a 2-game losing streak here. They just dropped to the Las Vegas Golden Knights 6-3 in their last game, while the Utah Hockey Club, well, they're on a 2-game winning streak here. They just beat the Lightning at home 6-4. Utah Hockey Club in their last 2 games, they scored 11 goals combined. Detroit Red Wings, only 4 goals combined. Who in the right mind's taking the Detroit Red Wings? That's right. We are. We're taking the underdog. We're flipping the script. I think the Detroit Red Wings bring their defense because they know this Utah Hockey Club has been scoring out of their behinds right now in their last couple games. 11 goals in the last 2 games. Their offense is clearly doing something right. I think Detroit steps up to the occasion. Their goaltender will step up. I like this Detroit Red Wings team to snap their 2-game losing streak here tonight against the Utah Hockey Club, who's on a 2-game winning streak, 11 goals in their last 2 games. Absolutely not. Take the dog in this one. I love the Red Wings plus money.
Love it.
Let's go,
baby. Come on.
2-8 in the last 10 games.
Oh, dude, he's all over it.
I love this.
I did think so. The one I actually circled this as maybe an underdog because I always say this is that plus 135, plus 155. I think is a sweet spot when you play underdogs in the NHL. So anytime there's somebody in there, I'm looking at them. the one thing is I was like, why aren't these guys plus 160, 155?
Right.
I mean, it is Utah.
It's fishy.
You know, I
Fish.
mean, I can't
We're
bet
sniffing
Utah
it out.
because Utah, they don't have a mascot. So it's like, I can't bet a
The
team without a
hockey club, we're
mascot.
calling them.
The hockey club, THC, is that what that, like, I don't know. And then what's going to happen? You know, it's going to be like Washington, where, you know, they were the Washington
3-3
football team,
yesterday.
and then all
Oh,
of a sudden
no,
they go to the
yeah,
Commanders.
right.
So eventually Utah is going to be
The
something.
Yetis. They're going to
The
be the Utah Yetis.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is a Yeti cooler sponsor. That would be that would be the awesome like leeway to like, you have to sponsor us. It's basically named after you. All right, I know you like one, Griffin, tonight.
Yeah.
Wild and the Stars. And let me get the current number. Stars big favorite, minus 210.
Yeah.
5.5. How you find value in this one?
Talk.
The question being is, why is Dallas minus 210 against a team that's got over 24 wins on the season on the road? Minnesota right now, we know one thing about them. They are not an offensive team. They're a defensive team, especially at home. And then the other side of factor, you have Dallas, who Dallas is absolutely stout at home. But Dallas not only is stout at home, but their defense is one of the most elite defenses in the entire league. So when you look at a game like this and you look at a number like this, it's this automatic psychological trap. You're looking at a low total sitting at 5.5. This is an automatic reverse script. We already know that Minnesota struggles to score offensively, both at home and away. But on top of that, they're very good on the road. And then you look at a Dallas team who's currently sitting with a dominant home record, and they're one of the best defenses in the NHL. When you have a total sitting at 5.5, that's an automatic trap psychological bet. You want to flip the script on the books. You want to take the over in that game. So I'm taking the over 5.5 in this matchup. I like the over in this game, Craig.
I believe, off the top of my head, I think Minnesota is the best under team in.
They are.
So you're going against pretty.
I'm going
think
big
it's 2 and
against
8.
them.
You're going over?
Yeah,
I thought you told me under.
I'm going with the over in this game. Over
sure?
5.5.
Are you sure? We're gonna give you a chance.
Absolutely. Watch this. You want to sprinkle some parlay dust, or you want to?
Oh yeah, we'll put this.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Let's go to war.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate
do it.
here. Okay, you got the Dallas Stars 3.3 goals
defense at home.
per 3.3 goals per game.
Correct.
You got the Minnesota Wild coming in 2.7 goals
Correct.
per
Let's
game.
do math.
Why is this total sitting at 5.5? You know the Dallas Stars play their best hockey at home.
Correct.
Right, and they score a lot of goals.
And they don't
right?
give up goals at home.
Right, but the Minnesota Wild are the 10th best defensive efficiency team in the NHL.
Yeah, but what's the record on the road?
24 and what?
Correct.
What'd you say?
So they put
22,
so they
10,
score
and
goals.
3.
So they score goals on the
Yeah,
road.
but everybody in their right mind's thinking that, you know what, Dallas is at home. They score 3 points.
Everybody in the right mind is thinking that Dallas is not going to let up a goal in
No.
tonight's
They think
matchup,
that Dallas
and they
is gonna
think that
score.
Minnesota is going to come in and get throttled because the line is currently sitting at 210 on
You
the
know
money
what?
line.
We disagree.
That is a
Hey,
trap.
we disagree here.
That
He says
pizza
the
money.
over. I
Yeah,
say the
you know what?
under.
Everybody-
We'll put a
everybody
stake on it.
watching this
We'll
right
put a
now?
stake.
Yeah,
5.5.
Tuesday night dinner.
I'll buy that damn steak when but I ain't buying that.
5.5.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
on the under.
I'm on
Chris
the
on the over.
You see it right here.
All right.
Let's go.
Five and
Sorry,
a
we got
half.
jacked.
There's the bet. For the
Give me the over.
So we will actually, just because we're in Vegas, we will be out tomorrow. We will be on Docs Daily tomorrow at 1:00 Eastern Standard Time. So we'll be able to tell you who's going to win the stake bet for Tuesday night.
Oh, we'll show you a picture of who's buying the tab. Damn it.
Well, we might not be able to because tonight, I don't know where we're going out tonight. We'll see. But we'll definitely have who wins tomorrow. We'll be talking about tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned. All right, Raphael, let's move from the NHL. Let's talk Final Four. What are, like, I'm guessing Duke, Auburn are still the two favorites. I'm guessing, and I haven't looked at this as far as the who's the favorite. I'm guessing it's Duke, right?
Duke, they opened up when we were adjusting the
8.5.
odds last night. We had Duke minus 160. It's up to minus 185. FanDuel has minus $2.
And that's just to make the Final Four, right?
That's just to make to win their East.
To get to the Final Four.
Yeah.
And then what? And then Auburn.
Auburn's minus 135, Florida's minus 130, and Houston's minus 125.
Like, of those bets, is there one that maybe you like more than, or a team that maybe you like that we didn't even talk about in there?
It's Houston. I have them cutting down the nets. I just think their defense is going to be the big reason. And I think Duke is probably the one. Duke and Auburn. I have only two number ones going to the Final Four. I think Duke and Auburn are the ones that can be circled that maybe upset. Duke is not a. I think Arizona can put a big fight in them and put a big scare into them. So I'm not so sold on what you guys said earlier about Duke dominating Arizona. So I'm a little bit skeptic with Duke and both Auburn going into this.
What do you think BYU, or I don't have the odds in front of me, you probably do. BYU, what are their odds? Because I think they're of teams that aren't the favorites. I kind of think they're, when you have that offense, if you shoot like they've been doing, you can beat anybody.
It's 248 at your guys' place right now, and I wrote this down at 10 o'clock. They were 12-1. Right now they are 7-1. So that just tells you what people saw on TV is that if they can hit their shots and play their style, they can beat anyone. They can beat any number one team. They're going to be a lights out team, and they're a fun team to watch, which I hate to say because I always
how about Arkansas? Because obviously they're one of the upset teams.
Dude.
I mean, they're an upset team as a 10 seed, but it's like they don't have 10 seed talent. They have 1 or 2 seed talent. They just underperform because of injuries and, a lot of things, moving parts with, of course, Calipari moving on from Kentucky to Arkansas and a whole new team. Every player on the team is new.
They're plus 850 Arkansas, and I'm not giving them the proper feed of a 10 seed because they beat St. John's, and we all know the Big East was not the Big East. That's why they're talking about merging the ACC in the Big East in college basketball because it was a horrible season for the Big East. So I don't think it was a big win. They had McDonald's talent and up and down Arkansas's roster. They had a whole Kentucky team that was on that team. So no, I'm not giving Arkansas their love just because they're a 10 seed.
Florida probably cannot be happy. I think Maryland's a very good team. That's a tough matchup, I think, for them. And then, if you face an Arkansas team with nothing to lose with that talent, you got to be going, what? The one advantage, obviously, they played them. So that's always, it's not like you're surprised by anybody. All right. Is there a team, though, out there that we didn't talk about that you think maybe it's worth a little sprinkle?
We all think Florida's going to dominate just because they got their scare already. UConn gave them their scare, but don't sleep on Texas Tech. I mean, they're 3-1 to win their region. They're going to be a tough out on this one. They play defense. They hit this outside shot. They crash the boards. I like this Texas Tech team.
Ralph, now that we're in the Sweet 16, do you still ride with your Houston in the paint to win it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're still on Houston?
Yeah, I'm still on Houston.
Okay.
I thought they played great.
Houston's been incredible.
I thought they might struggle because they're kind of a team that plays a lot of close games, at times, though, and then they just kind of wear teams down. I was like, oh, what if they – and they kind of let them come back, too. They kind of let Gonzaga come back a little bit. I was like, oh, no. But Gonzaga, I thought, was way overrated after they beat Georgia in the first round. I mean, they were super impressive, but it's like Georgia.
From the arc.
Like, they didn't get off the bus. And it was like they were down like 25-2 or something, and it was like it got ugly because they were playing off, they couldn't play their style.
Yeah.
Houston took care of business. I think if they get past Purdue, I don't think they'll have any trouble with Kentucky or Tennessee. I think so. I like your pick there. I like Houston. After that, I mean, if you get to the Final Four and it's Duke, Florida, I think those 3 teams are awesome.
Well, you can lay minus 120 on the field versus the SEC right now. I think that's a nice price at minus
8. What 8 of the 16, right, are SEC?
Right? 7 out of 9. So you're telling me I can get minus 125, or there's even minus 120 on Duke, Houston, Texas Tech against pretty much the field against the SEC, which they're going to knock out one SEC team, Tennessee and Kentucky.
Yeah, play each
other. I think that's a great value. Maybe you can parlay that on your guys' parlay
tickets. What about a tease, man?
Ralph's not taking those parlays. He's not taking those parlays.
No.
Hey, don't watch the YouTube channel later today.
Dirty 630. Don't check it out, man.
When these guys give out parlay, or I'm going to be giving out a teaser. All right, Raphael, it's great having you. Of course, we're going to let you off the hook for tomorrow's regular show, or Wednesday. Sorry, we're in
Tuesday.
Because tomorrow's Tony George. We expect you back on Wednesday. I misspoke there. So
Wednesday,
we'll be able to talk more because we're going to see a lot of these lines move.
Can I answer a question in the chat? Tyler Torres wants to know about LSU women today. They open up at 9. This Florida State money is coming in like crazy. They open up at 11. It's 9.5. If this one goes to 9 for LSU, I would jump on LSU at -9 because that's crazy. I thought it was going to go upwards.
So there you go. All right. So if you haven't done so, make sure you like and subscribe. Don't forget, go to docsports.com/free60 to get a free $60 account. Get in on your favorite expert. Of course, if you already in on everything, just go to the grid. Like tonight, I have a 7-unit play. NHL boys, you have anything big tonight?
No top plays for me tonight.
So,
No
but I'm
top
sure
play. 1
the
through
next
4.
couple days-
I'm on NHL. I've got 2 premium selections. NBA. I have a 7-unit NBA selection. That play goes off at 7 p.m. Eastern
There
time
you go.
tonight.
So an NBA, NHL, you don't have any 7 or 8.
No,
tonight.
just a 4-unit NBA and then 2-pack in the end.
Raphael, you have anything big tonight? I know you're not the.
I got a
You
big
don't-
premium play in the NBA.
So there you go. Get on the NBA play. So and then don't parlay it. But parlay. But parlay it. No, I'm just kidding there. Raphael. All right, guys. We'll see you back again tomorrow, 1:00 Eastern Standard. We're back to regular time tomorrow and rest of the week. We'll still be in Vegas, so it'll be early out here, and we're going to be out partying tonight. So it's like basically we're going to roll out of bed to do the show. So you guys are welcome. So, all right, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you back again tomorrow. Docs Daily. Thank you, and hope all your bets are winning ones.